Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this series, we are working on AZ104 videos, and we are really on this particular lab implement virtual networking. In the last three videos, we have completed the first three tasks. We created a virtual network and created a couple of subnets. Okay, so if you go back in here, this is the virtual network that we created, and what we have in this virtual network, if you look at this, the only one address space. We created a couple of subnets in there. In those subnets, we have associated two different network interface card. Really, there are two VMs. They're deployed in subnet 0 and subnet 1. Now, we have not created any network security group that is essential to protect your traffic to ingress and egress, both kind of traffic. So let's go and get started with the task 5, okay, which is configure a network security group. So let's just make sure task 4. Task 4 is task 3. Task 4 is right there. Configure network security groups. So I'm already logged into the Azure portal, and so let's just go back to the resource group, and I usually just search for the resource group here, and it shows up under the resource group section. So click on that one. It will take me to the resource group, and let's go to the VM0. So where's my VM0? That's my VM0. So let's just click on that one, and on here click the connect and then click RDP. So connect and then RDP, and it is actually going to ask us to download the RDP file. Okay, and then you can click on the download the RDP file using the public IP address, and then you can double click on it to go to the file. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just bring up a network connection. This is the other way to go there. Okay, so over here what you can do, you can 168.61, so you can also type 168.61 and then 34, then 213, and the username is student, and then you can try to connect. Let's see what happens. So right now it's trying to connect to this particular virtual machine, and what it says connection, we couldn't make it to that connection. Remote access to the server is not enabled. The remote computer is turned off. The remote computer is not available on the network. So what is happening? None of the ports are open because we have not created any NSG, nothing like that. So let's read this section just a little bit. So we have just tested the connection has failed. This is expected because public IP addresses of the standard SKU by default request the network interfaces to which they are assigned are protected by network security group. So that's a very good security feature from Microsoft. So if you're using the IP and if you're using the standard one, you gotta have a network security group, and then you have to open it based on your requirements. So because we're using standard and there is no NSG, everything is denied. In order to allow remote desktop connection, you create a network security group explicitly allowing the inbound RDP traffic from internet and assign it to the network interfaces of both virtual machines. So if I try the other virtual machine and try to connect, it's gonna fail as well, right? So what we'll do, we'll go and we'll look for a network security group. I'm just gonna go and search for this and see. I have the classic and the regular, and as I said many times, just go with the regular one and don't use the classic, and hit create. And I'm going to follow this lab guidance. For the resource group, let's use the resource group that we have created, and the name is E104. No, name is the NSG01, so let's just use that. AZ10404 NSG01, and I'm going to stick to the same uh, region, which is the East US. And over here, I'm going to hit the review and create. It will go through the validation, and I'm going to create the create button once I had the green bar at the top. The deployment doesn't take very long. So once the deployment is done, which is done now, I can click the go to resource, and then I'm going to go and open up this NSG. So it's already open, and over here what you see, there is some default rules that already got created. Okay, so before we do 8, okay, let's look at what we have. So this is a network security group, and you can look, the security group is placed under this resource group, which we know, and I haven't provided a tag. But if you look at, we got some inbound rules that got created and some outbound rules that got created by default. If you look at the inbound rule, it says, okay, allow VNet inbound. That means anything between Azure virtual network, you can allow from any port, any protocol from any Azure network to any other Azure virtual network, please allow. You have another rule, Azure allow Azure load balancer, okay, inbound. So from Azure load balancer, if somebody is coming, please allow. And then at the very bottom, they're saying, okay, everything else is denied. Okay. And for the outbound, again, from allow VNet outbound, from the VNet, you can go to the internet, allow VNet outbound to internet. So VNet can talk to other virtual network. VNet outbound, okay, internet outbound. If you have internet connection, if you're trying to go out, you can also do to go there. Everything else is at the bottom, and these rules work as a priority, right? The higher priority means that will take a precedence. Now we don't see port 3389, which is required for the RDP connection in there. Now, since we are going to be connecting to this particular machine on Azure, we have to configure the inbound security rule in this case. So now come to the section 8. Okay, so what we'll do, on the left hand side, we're going to click on the inbound security rules, and you see you have an add button. You're going to click on the add button and configure it kind of the way that I have here. So any is the source port is start, that means from any port I can come. Destination is any service, you can go and select the RDP service if it's there. Well, actually just yeah, here's RDP. And then what we'll do, action is going to be allow, we want to allow that traffic. Priority is, let's use 300, and name, allow RDP inbound. So make a name that makes sense, and that should be it. Hit add, and we are adding. And because RDP got so many vulnerabilities, okay, that protocol, it always shows up as a warning if you ever open RDP port on a machine that is publicly accessible. Okay, understand the security risk. Now over here, on the NSG1 network security group, click on the network interfaces and then click associate. So over here, we have created this NSG, but it is not associated with any network interfaces. So over here, let's just associate, and let's associate which one? Associate AZ10404 NSG01. So let's click on that one. So we're going to associate both, associate the 0, okay, that's the nick card for the virtual machine 0, and then once that is done, we're going to associate the other one as well. Okay, it says it may take up to 5 minutes for the rules from the newly created network security group to be applied to the network interface card. So now you see that this virtual machine just showed, our network interface card just showed up as the associated one to this network security group. Okay, let's do and add the other one as well. Click that one, hit OK. And now this network interface card will also be protected by this particular network security group. So as this is done, we are going to go back to the VM 0 now. So again, I'm going to go back to overview, go to the resource group. From the resource group, I'm going to go down to the VM 0. Okay. In the subsequent steps, you will verify that you can successfully connect to the target machine and sign in for the student username and this password. Okay, so what we are here now, in this, click connect and click RDP and click download RDP file. Again, if you want, you can click RDP and go to the delete the download the RDP file. And this is really how you connect to a remote machine that is running somewhere else. It doesn't have to be on Azure. It could be somewhere else in your network as well. Now over here, what I'll do, I already have this open, so I am going to try to connect again, and look at this time, it's actually asking for a password, right? So let's provide this beautiful complex password in here, and then hit OK. And now look at that, it's asking for a certificate. Do you trust the certificate? I'm gonna say yes, okay, I do. And it is now logged in to that virtual machine, which is the VM0. Okay, so let's just see what happens. Just give it a second to log in. Once this is done, I actually would like to test the other machine as well, just to be double sure all the lab didn't say us to test. It is always good to test the connectivity to your virtual machines once you have created them on Azure. So as the server manager come up, I'm going to close this. And one thing I'm gonna really quickly see, go to the CMD command prompt, open up. Okay, in here I'm gonna really do a host name very quickly, and it proves that it's the AZ10404 VM0. That's the one that I have. Looks very, very good. Okay, it's coming back to the resource group again. Let's go to the VM1 and let's find the public IP. Okay, let's open up another remote desktop connection, and in this one let's put the other IP, and then use the student again. And now this is going to the other virtual machine. Let's see, I can connect to the other virtual machine as well and say yes. So that should connect me to the other virtual machine. So right now I have two virtual machines running. Like this one I have already tested. This is the virtual machine 0, and this is what the one that I want to test and make sure everything looks good, which is the virtual machine 1. Okay, let's let it just come for a second. As soon as it's already here. So let me just shrink this window just a little. And what I'm interested in, going to the CMD prompt again, exactly the way that I have done some testing. Open CMD. Let's the command prompt come up, and over here I'm going to do host name. I'm expecting VM1 in this case, and look at that. Okay, so that tells me everything, all the deployment worked beautifully. So we are done with this task. Let's meet in the next video where we're going to configure the Azure DNS for the internal name resolution. Thank you for watching.